All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm gonna delete this video in the future, so if you don't see this video, I don't really care. I'm just making this because and hopefully you guys agree with this. It's about CS2. That was loud. It's about CS2, and obviously there's a lot of people that could agree with this. And they're not in silver because if you try to argue with people and you say, "Oh, well, the game has a lot of cheaters," and "Oh, the game's just not good," there's always gonna be someone that says it, and they're gonna do it in the comments because they want attention and stuff. We already know it's not a silver issue. We take a look at Premier, and Premier has like lots of cheaters, and I'm just sick and tired of it. There's no point of getting good at this game, and if you say like, oh, pro players and stuff like that, even they're fed up with it. They just and they talk about it quite frequently. It's sad how we take a game that's already thriving, CS:GO, and then we change it into CS2. And don't give me that bullcrap. Oh, it's Source 2. We made another engine. You could have literally reskinned the whole entire game, made it better, and that's it, and called it as CS2. Instead, you ruined it, and I mean, took out a lot of game modes, right? And you just made it competitive, Premier, and Face It. And even then, Face It is just I would consider anyone to play Face It if you're at a good level, and I mean where you're above, I would say Gold Nova, and even then, you like even higher, like you would have to place higher in Premier and stuff like that, and then play Face It and play a lot of Face It. It's not just being at a certain rank. Obviously, get your skills up and all that kind of stuff, and then just straight to Face It. The reason why I say this is because Face It at least has an anti cheat, though there are a lot of cheaters in there too, and there are notorious cheaters in there, and sometimes they toggle and it takes a long time to figure out who's cheating and stuff like that, so it's not all too safe, but it's a much better alternative. I don't like it personally because it's competitive, and I don't like competitive games. When we play Call of Duty, I wouldn't play it competitively. When we play this game, I don't play it competitively. If I did play it competitively, maybe, but I I don't want to play games like that. I like to have fun, and there are gonna be points where I do become competitive, but at that same time, I'm just not feeling it. And especially with this game because it's dictated by people who have cheats, and I don't care how much money they spend on those cheats. It's very ridiculous that Valve continues to allow these cheaters just so they can have a substantial, or sorry, not substantial. Well, you could say a sustainable, like, player base. So you know how they say congruent players. So right now, here's on screen the amount of people that are playing this game. Now, if we could figure out who's gambling and who's cheating, if we subtract all that, then we would figure out who's the real players. Now, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, and we don't have a numbers on top of our heads to figure out whether or not majority of the people that are gambling, what is a percentage, right? Because this game is a gambler's dream, and I hate the fact. Listen, and I'm gonna say something that's very controversial. Okay, so I feel like gambling's not the huge issue, and people will continue to make videos about gambling. Oh, people are starting at young kids. Okay, that's fair. My problem is cheaters. Okay, so when we're playing competitive or we're playing Premier or Face It, and we're playing and we're earning our skill group, it's not fair for someone to come in and dictate that game and basically allow himself or herself to be able to win that game and beat the players that actually worked hard for their skill. It's not right. And I've said it multiple times. I've taken like multiple breaks. I can't play it. I've been playing it for over 2 years. There have been less updates that are very good for the state of the game, and there isn't. There's no updates. They literally just added armory passes. Last year they did nothing, and I mean literally nothing. It was so dry. They just added a few things, and I'm pretty sure this year they just added like a funny ragdoll mechanic, which they quickly took out, but they can't add an anti cheat. They added an army pass, they can't add an anti cheat. And people are gonna be like, oh, like anti cheats don't work. I don't want a kernel level anti cheat. Okay, if Fortnite can do it, and before you say there's a lot of cheaters on Fortnite, yeah, there is, but I haven't encountered any of them. And it's not because of my skill level or anything like that. I have tons of streams playing Fortnite and having fun, right? I have not encountered a cheater. Now, I have encountered cheaters where they would shoot you across the map, and they were clearly cheating. They were shooting people through walls and stuff like that. They were clearly cheating, and it was evident, right? So there are cheaters in Fortnite. Not as bad as CS2. Okay, CS2 has a lot of cheaters, and they could be toggling, they could be doing whatever, and it gets to that point where you think everyone's cheating, and that's a very bad mindset, because if there's an actual good player, and I was explaining this to my friend, so he's 6 years old, right? I know you're gonna be like, well, that's weird, right? He's a grandpa to me, right? So I was explaining to him how not everyone's cheating. As soon as they start winning, it's not because they're cheating. Now, if they start doing suspicious things, right? Maybe. But even then, at this point, we don't know who's cheating and who's not, because they might be cheating and we don't know. Okay. And I'm not going to sit there and look through the matches. I've gotten fed up with it. I've told my friends that it's to the point where every time we're playing this game, we're raging about it. And then when we're off it, we're chilling. It's like when you have an addiction. So, for example, smoking. So, you know how people don't smoke on planes? Now, that's going to be like, oh, well, yeah, you can't smoke on planes. Do you see how they don't do riots, though? Do you see how they don't get pissed off when they're not smoking in the plane? And these plane riots could be like 2 hours to 14 hours to a whole day, right? Like they're not sitting there complaining, right? So my thing is, okay, and then when they do smoke, so they don't regret smoking. They do not regret not smoking, right? The analogy is they don't regret smoking when they're in a plane, but when they're smoking, they regret it. So it's the same thing with CS:GO. We don't regret not playing it, and then we regret when we're playing it. It's a very terrible. It's a very terrible dynamic. Okay, when we're not playing the game, we feel happy. When we're playing the game, we feel upset. So, and there's a lot of people that way. I mean, there's a lot of people that are upset at it, and quite frankly, I think that it's very upsetting, and I think that they gotta do something about it. And it's not just adding an anti-cheat. They gotta start adding more content to it. Like in CS:GO, my favorite game mode, and this is Flying Scoutsman. Okay, it's a very simple thing to work on sniping and stuff like that, especially with the scout. So people could go in there and practice and have fun, and we would be having fun on there, right? So my thing is, why can't we have other game modes? Why can't we have fun? Why can't we bring the fun back to CS:GO? Because they don't want to, right? And if they did, they would have been working on it since day one. And people are gonna give this like lame excuse for these billion-dollar corporate they're not gonna let you hit, bro. I'm sorry, like I'm gonna use that sentence. They're not your friend, okay? They are trying to make as much money as possible, okay? If I don't understand the concept, okay? If I created a game and I wanted this game to be successful, okay? I would more than likely, and this is my take on it, I would more than likely make the game very good, and I mean very good. I would put a lot of sweat into the game, blood and sweat, and I would be on top of things. And every week there would be an update, or even every month there would be a massive update that allows people to come back and enjoy the game again. And then they'll be off, and then there would be another update. So I'm bringing them back. I'm having a congruent player base, and they always come back because they're enjoying the updates. And it could be weekly, it could be monthly, whatever the case may be, as long as they're enjoying the game. Okay, and I would focus on making I would focus on longevity. So longevity equals more money. Okay, this is a very simple concept that Gabe Newell just doesn't seem to understand. If I was to make a game and it was successful and I wanted to continue that success, I would extend it. I would extend its longevity to make more money, and I would do it in the right way. So obviously, you could have cosmetics, you could have all these kind of things, not force it on people. I would recommend that you make a game. It's gonna be very good. You have to put a lot of effort into it and a lot of thought into it, and you have to think as a player. Gabe Newell does not think like a player. When he took this game from the Half-Life devs, right, the people that made that mod, he was not thinking at all. And sometimes I don't get, okay? I'm not trying to play Six Siege because Six Siege is like a one-shot kill depending on where you hit. Like if you hit in the head, instant. CS:GO is not that way. And I'm getting seriously tired with the fact that bullets go sideways when that's not the case. I think guns in that game should be realistic, and I think the game shouldn't take like an approach where like, oh, it's realistic, but the guns, like the recoil does not make sense. And this whole thing, oh, you have to have skill. It's not skill. It's stupidity. If bullets are flying out sideways from the barrel, and I mean like literally when you shoot and it's going the other way, that's not a gun. That's a alien gun or something, because it's not making sense to me how when you're shooting and bullets are going right or left and they're not going straight when it's supposed to go straight. There is no gun on this planet. I might be incorrect, so leave it in the comments below. There's no gun on this planet that could shoot left and right when the bullet's coming directly out of the out of the, what do they call it, the freaking barrel. Okay, so it doesn't make sense to me. There's a lot of issues I think they fix. There's a lot of things they need to fix, and if they don't do it, there's gonna be a point in our time where we're not gonna play this game. And Gabe could care less. I'm not spending money on the game. I have a few cosmetics. I'm not spending a lot of money on it. I just buy here and there, and that's about it. I'm not sitting here crying about it. I could honestly care less about what Gabe thinks. Um, he's gonna keep doing the same thing, and it's been 2 years now. There's got to be some sort of like improvement that we can make in the game where we could limit the cheaters and stuff like that. It's not just having a kernel level cheat. You could have a simple anti-cheat that detects, and people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, they're using AI." AI is gonna be so dumb because if you're doing well in a game, which I have those moments where I do really well in the game, and I mean I do really like I have such good game sense that it can be considered cheating. And I promise I don't cheat. You can watch the streams, right? I don't cheat. So I put a lot of effort into game sense. I put a lot of effort into my aim. Okay, and I'm not rewarded with anything. And in fact, I'm rewarded with losing games because they get to dictate that. They get to dictate if I lose. Okay, it was happening with Overpass. We were up. It was like I think it was like 10-2, and they did like the biggest comeback on the planet where they were so bad. And I mean, they were so bad. Like I was sneaking up behind them and knifing them type stuff. All of a sudden they switch it on and they're so good and they're simple and modesty and they're all this. They're like running around shooting people. They're checking specific corners, and I mean specific corners when they weren't checking those corners before. And like, for example, I wouldn't hide in the same place, right? But if we're checking specific corners when you guys were sucking, and all of a sudden you know where everyone is, that means you toggled them on, okay? And I checked other things on CS Watch, and what would you know? Suspicious. One of the guys had a high win rate, which okay, that's fair. It could probably just be he's winning a lot or she's winning a lot, but it was suspicious. I'm not sure. Okay, same thing with like their aim or their pre-aim degree, suspicious. They could just know that I was around the wall, silent walking and stuff like that. So that's why I don't care. I've stopped caring, and my friends are slowly stopped caring about this game. We're playing other games, and I love FPS, but at the current state of FPS, and in my personal opinion, I think FPS is gonna die off in a few years, or it's gonna be overrun with cheaters, and DMA or Daima, like whatever Daima, Dragon Ball Daima. No, it's terrible, and I think it's over, and that's about it. I really don't like to rant about this. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm overreacting and I'm just sitting here and like, spewing out like nonsense and stuff like that. I think it's a very like great way to communicate about this problem. It's not going to solve anything, but I want to know if I'm alone on this thing or if I'm not because I might be, and I might just be thinking everyone's cheating, and I don't like that mindset, and I promise you I don't. In Call of Duty, I never had, I swear on everything, I never had huge raging problems, unlike CS2. And I don't mean rage like where I get up and smash my monitor, I mean like rage where I verbally explain how stupid a mechanic is in CS2. I don't, I really don't. I don't have bad rage. Call of Duty was one of my favorite, like Modern Warfare 2019 was one of my favorites, and me and my friend would play a lot, and we never once shouted cheater. We've never once shouted cheater. I'm not joking with you. We've never once shouted cheater at Call of Duty. And people were saying there was like a lot of cheaters. No, we've never shouted once. We play CS:GO. We don't even know who's cheating. So we've stopped assuming. We can't. We don't know who is and who isn't because there are good genuine people there. So let me know your opinion. And if you say silver, if you say you're in silver, I'm not in silver. Okay. So I'm gonna get that out of the way. Um, there's gonna be people that say that, but honestly, let me know your opinion on it though. Like really, like just let me know how you think CS:GO is, and I would appreciate it. I mean, maybe you have a different take, and I would like it. I respect everyone's opinion. If you think the game is good, yeah, by all means. I think, and I like the game. I just don't like the players. That's about it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. I don't know what next video is. I've been actually slacking by. You can see these like past uploads. I've been just uploading randomly. I extremely apologize.